subscribe.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Thank you for all of your support these last few days. It's been fantastic. The last couple of weeks has gone really well. I'm up to 39 subscribers, which is mad. I did a podcast, for anybody that knows it. I did a podcast called Getting the Arsenal, and it was all about Arsenal. And I think I amassed a total of about 8 subscribers over the duration of about 3 months. And I really put the work in with that. So to have 39 subscribers in less than a month is crazy, and I can't thank you guys enough. I've not been posting as much recently. I've not been very well. I've been quite poorly, to be honest. I've had some sort of illness that's just completely wiped me out and knocked me off my feet. But I'm starting to feel better today, which is good. And hence why I didn't release. Usually I release today. The video comes out today. I record it on a Friday. I do my editing and whatnot. But today is the day I'm recording, which is Saturday. So yeah, it's been difficult. It's not like me to have time off. I only usually have time off for the kids or for the missus or something like that. And if I do have time off for myself, it's usually only for a fucking day. I don't really like having days off sick, especially when I'm the main provider, you know. So yeah, I feel like I've kind of let everybody down a little bit, but at the same time, had I not had the rest, I'd probably be knocked for 6 completely, and yeah, who knows. So yeah, that's why I've not been very active. Usually I'm posting daily and I'm really trying to push the program and things like that, which I'm kind of guessing is why it's done so well so early on. So yeah, for everybody that has got on board and is continuing to listen and watch and things like that, thank you. It does mean the world to me. So this episode is a bit wordy. This is level 3, boss battle, eating. Okay. Now, for most people or most family, eating is just a mundane task. You know, you cook your dinner, you make your food, the kids eat it, you eat it, you have a nice dinner, blah, 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 bosh. Done, right? Cool. Not with the boons. Nah. No, not quite. Let's start with myself, okay? So I'm a self-proclaimed fussy eater. And what I mean by that is I'm very particular. I don't eat any fruit. And this is where it's a bit weird, right? I don't eat any fruit, but I love fruit juice. So at the moment, I've got a whiskey and orange on the go, right? Pure orange juice, love it. Can't get enough of it. Yeah, I drink it daily, flared out. But yeah, apple juice. Again, I like it. It doesn't always agree with me, but I like it. Yeah. There's some grape juices I like and things like that. And I get it's because it's sweet. And obviously full of sugar, some of it natural, some of it not, whatever. It is what it is, yeah? But I really like that. That for me, love it. Veg, on the other hand, I really struggle with it, all right? I really do struggle with that. Like I said, fruit I don't eat at all, but I take it in juice form, okay? Veg, on the other hand, is a lot more challenging for me. You know, I wouldn't have a glass of onion juice, for example. Potatoes are a vegetable, but chips don't count, let's be honest. I do like a jacket potato, you know, so I'm not completely bad. And I can deal with certain vegetables that are cooked in things, like I'll get a keema rice from an Indian rather, not from a Chinese, that would be strange. But that'll have onions in it, and yeah, I can be a bit funny about it, but I can eat it. And a lot of it comes down to texture for me. Yeah, a lot of my issues are texture based. Sorry, I'm just gonna sort my hood out because it's inside out. Sorry about that. Yeah, so a lot of it's texture based, and I believe this is why I'm going on about it. I believe Travis has the same thing as me, right? So, Travis is a newborn. When you get into that weaning phase, which is where we're at with Harrison right now, so it's a really exciting stage, you know, and they're trying different things, and they like it or they don't, and it's wicked, right? Scary, fucking scary. Let me tell you, if you're a first time parent, there's nothing scarier than giving your son or daughter something solid to put in their mouth and thinking, is this the time they choke on it? Is it now that I'm going to have to go into my best form of CPR and rescue my child? And that's frankly it. It is scary. And I don't know if I've said it before or not, but kids are kind of like lemmings, you know, the computer game Lemmings, where you basically just spend the first few years, even now at Travis at 4, you spend the first good few years of their life making sure they just don't die. Because all they seem to want to do is kill themselves in some way, shape, or form, be it choking or putting their fingers in electric sockets that they shouldn't, or biting something they shouldn't. You know, the possibilities of death at that age are endless, all right? So just bear that in mind. So, what I'm trying to say is, when Travis was little and he was weaning, Travis would eat anything. You could put it in his mouth and he would eat it, and there was no issues. There was, of course, there was some occasional things he'd try it and he wouldn't like it, and that for us was like, wow, he doesn't like it. And for me, as a fussy eater and a parent, it was massive. I was like, wow, thank God, he's not going to be like me. He's going to eat things. Sweet, right? So, he goes on this weaning adventure, and it is an adventure. You know, it's exciting, and you can get all these like finger foods, quote unquote, finger foods. I mean, we live in England, obviously, and you have like these brands, and none of this is paid promotion or anything. It's just what we use. Ella's Kitchen do a great range of finger foods and things like that, which are like basically just crisps, but they melt like fast as fuck. So it minimises the risk of choking. It even says on their packaging like you need to watch them. You need to watch them like a hawk. So those options are available. You can obviously supermarkets and things like that have their own brands as well. They're just as good. Anything that is going to melt fast, and if you're not sure, test it yourself. It's only a crisp. Bang it in your mouth. See how long it takes. Yeah, it's really not the end of the world. So we got through this stage with Travis, and he got to it was when he was at one of his nurseries, and he just, like I said, he'd eat anything. You know, we never used to have to worry about a packed lunch or anything like that. You just send him there, and then the nursery started telling us that he'd stopped sort of like eating the food they were providing. We're like, right, okay, this is a bit strange. And then we noticed it at home as well. He was starting to go off certain things, and he just wouldn't be as adventurous. Now, we will never know, and I'm not saying anything did happen, but we will never know whether something at that nursery has put him off, because it was so strange that just overnight, like that, bang, he's just stopped eating half, if not, I don't know, a good like 80% of the food he used to eat. And he'd proper kick off as well, like real fucking tantrums, like not just like a no, spitting it out, things like that. No, it'd be all out war. So what can you do as a parent in that situation? Not a great deal. And then it's worrying for us because we're like, right, have we fucked up? Is this something we've done? What can we do to help? So we tried all these different avenues, and it got down to like a very linear fucking diet of like this, that, and the other. Very basic things like toast he'd eat, stuff like that, you know. And obviously this is kind of like past the weaning stage now. This is where he's like got teeth and he can actually eat like independently and stuff. So it's very strange for him to get like that. And even now at the age of 4, he's still like this. He has a very particular diet. And we took him to the doctors, and we're like, look, we're actually quite concerned. All he eats basically is like chips, nuggets, things like that. And it's a parent's worst nightmare, you know. It's any parent's worst nightmare. Because one, I'm the one that does the majority of the cooking. I would love for him to eat the stuff that we eat. Don't get me wrong, we don't always cook the greatest things because of me being fussy. But look, if I had to throw, like, I can eat mushrooms and things like that. Granted, it has to be chopped up small, but if it means I chop it up really small and put it into his food, sweet, you know. At least I know he's getting something, at least 1 or 2 of his 5 a day in that, you know. So we obviously took him to the doctors, and I can't remember what the doctor said, but it was quite reassuring. I think it was a nurse we saw, and she basically called it something almost like a yellow diet or something like that. And basically, it's quite common for toddlers to do it. And she said even her child does it. So for us, me personally, it was like, all right, cool, bit of a weight off, because we were getting a lot of like feelings that it was us and we'd failed him, and all he eats are chips, nuggets, or chips and fish fingers, and it's bland, it's boring, there's not a lot of nutrition, he's going to end up ill, etc., etc. As it happens, Travis is, for his age, massive. To put into context, I went to pick him up from nursery the other day. I bumped into a friend that I knew from years ago, and her daughter was there. Her daughter's 7 and goes to like an after school club, which nursery do, which is fantastic. So we bumped into each other, and we saw each other again outside as I picked up Travis, and like Travis went over with myself and we said hello, and he said hello to her daughter, and like literally same height. I think Travis might have even been taller, and she was 7. So Travis is massive. He's well built. He's not got a lack of energy and things like that. But you know, as a parent, deep down, you want your kids to be eating like all this green, all this veg, all this fruit. So one thing with Travis though, his fruit intake is good, and he will try fruit. Like he'll eat a banana. I really struggle with bananas. Like they make me heave for some reason. I've got a real bad thing with bananas. Don't know why. Again, I think it's texture. I've got a good idea why, and I'll go into that in a minute. Anyway, smoothies, things like that, whether they're shop bought or whether they're homemade. He's a little bit funnier with the homemade ones, and again, I think this is a lot to do with texture, but he will drink almost any shop bought smoothie you can give him. He will demolish it no matter what. And okay, yeah, there's sugar in it. There's fucking sugar in everything, all right? He's getting 5 a day. Not 5, but he's getting 1 or 2 of his 5 a day in these smoothies. So that for me is a big weight off my shoulders. I understand 5 a day is massive. They went on for it being 7. I'm pretty sure it's still 5. 3, 5, 1, 9, 8, 12, whatever. If you can get your kid to eat some form of fruit and some form of veg in any way, shape or form, they're still getting in goodness, right? You can also buy like chewable vitamins when they get to a certain age to like top up their goodness. And that's what we do. He has a chewable vitamin every day. Doesn't do him any harm. He likes it, you know? To him, it's a sweetie. Fucking sound. Your kid's having a sweet. Well, in their eyes. But it's actually doing him in the world of good, you know? So, what I'm trying to say is, try not to put as much stress on it as what I know myself and my partner have. And don't get me wrong, we do still stress about it. And it's hard for me to say that, and you guys, whoever's watching, and I've got kids in this scenario, maybe just go, well, the guy on the screen said it, so it'll be all right. It is still stressful, but there's certain ways of like dealing with it. So at dinner times and breakfast time, things like that. If we're getting him to try new things, obviously the bribery comes out again. Right, come on, you eat that, you eat your dinner. I'll take you to Smith's. I'll get you a toy. You pick what you like, you can have it. Especially when it comes to vegetables and things like that. And then he'll throw a real curveball in. And he done this a few weeks back, maybe a few months ago. And he just, out of the blue, said to my missus, he goes, he didn't say Kirsty, obviously, because it's smart, innit? So he said, Mummy, I want vegetables. All right. So we had in the freezer, we had like these little steam packed vegetables, bang in the microwave, 3 minutes or whatever it is, bosh, on the plate, done. And he ate the lot. He asked for that, completely out of the blue, and he ate the lot. Explain that. Make some form of fucking sense, because it doesn't to us. Because, and the reason it's more random is, so we had 2 days in a row, 1, 2, eating it, bosh, clean plate, wicked. These are really nice, Mummy. Really like these. I want to take some to nursery. Sound. 3rd day, same. Put it on there with one of his meals. Nah, don't like that. So make that make sense. And this is where it's very frustrating with him. And this is where it's a constant battle, because we, like, even this evening, right, I've done him ravioli. We call them Mario boxes, right? Things like this, related to something he likes. That's what we did. He loves Mario. They look like the question mark boxes, you know, that Mario gets mushrooms and things like that from. We call them Mario boxes. I did him a tin of Mario boxes, ravioli, right? Give him a tin of that, and you'll find on some of them as well, things like that. They're actually one of his 5 a day because of the tomato juice and things like that in it. So, all right, it's a tin. You think, oh, it's not very nutritious. Yeah, all right, it's not, but he's still getting some goodness out of it, all right? So, yeah, he had a plate of that. I've done it. Yeah, cool. Sat him down, put one in his mouth, chewed it, don't like it, spat it out. It's things like that. It's so trying. But you do just have to sort of roll with it. There's nothing more I can say. You do just have to kind of roll with it and just be really, really fucking patient. That's something that obviously is very hard when you know they're eating something one day and then just point blank refusing it the next day. And that's a lot of what we have with Travis. Now, the other thing that we have with Travis, especially, and it's not, again, none of this is me trying to like reinvent the wheel. And I've said this many a time before. I'm not trying to preach to the choir or trying to tell you that I've made this groundbreaking discovery, right? Because it's not. But what I'm going to tell you is, if Travis is fucking hungry, you know about it, right? He is the definition of hangry. when he's hungry, right? He will kick off. And when I tell you he kicks off, he will be horrible. The things he will say, I hate you. I hate you, Daddy. Just go away. Why don't you go to work? Things like that. Things that really get to you. And it's hard to hear, but usually when he's like that, you can kind of pinpoint it on something. Like, again, for example, this morning, kicking off, telling me he hates me, telling me he wishes I was going to work. Why aren't you going to work? As soon as I got some toast down him, completely different boy. Completely different boy. The other thing he was kicking off about is the fact that he wanted some biscuits. Well, mate, all right, you can't have biscuits for breakfast. All right, we'd all love to have biscuits for breakfast. And don't get me wrong, as an adult, you can, but we don't. All right. So, yeah, do you remember back in the day? I don't know. Again, if you guys aren't from the UK and you're watching, you might not be able to necessarily relate with this, but Snickers, and again, this is no paid endorsement. All right, I like a Snickers just as much as the next man. You might not like it. I'm not getting paid for it, or I put the little thing on there that says I did. I'm nowhere near big enough for that shit yet, right? Snickers done a great advert, and it was, "You're not you when you're hungry." That was like the tagline at the end. And they had a lady, I want to say it was like Gloria Estefan or someone like that. And they were in like a changing room at the end of a game, and it pans around to her, and she's kicking off. And I think they done one with Elton John as well, maybe. Kicking off to fuck, yeah, like proper diva-ing it up. Nah, you would, tell you what, it's your fault we lost this game. Blah, blah, blah. Proper kicking off. Someone gives them a Snickers, bang, takes a bite, it goes back to the original person, and then it comes up with, "You're not you when you're hungry." Yeah, granted, Travis is definitely 100% not him when he's hungry. That is a fact, all right? So, again, hunger and things like that is it's tricky, it's challenging. Diet is very hard. You might have a perfect kid. You might have a kid that'll eat anything, that'll eat his veggies, things like that. And believe me, we've tried. I'd like to think we've tried even harder, because Kirsty and I both know that because I don't eat it, we don't want a kid like that. We don't want a kid that's going to be like me and that will just eat. So why am I fussy? So, when I was younger, my mum and dad aren't together. They broke up quite early when I was young. Shit happens, all right? All of this has made me who I am today, all right? And I'm proud of that. And I like to think that everybody that knows me is proud of me for being like this, okay? So, my mum got with my sister's dad, who sadly isn't with us anymore. And he taught me a lot, all right? He taught me a lot about manners and things like that, and which is what I pressed home to Travis, but not quite as harsh. And things like that, you know? So, yeah, all right, he was a bit of an arsehole at times, and I'm sorry, Belle, for saying that, but he was. But he taught me a lot of good things and a lot of qualities, and I appreciate the fact that he is was my sister's dad, and my sister wouldn't be around if it weren't for this. So I'm not going to go too mad on this, all right? But a lot of my eating comes from dinner times, and it was very much forced upon me that whatever was put in front of me, and it wasn't always the nicest of meals because he was weight training and things like that, and it was a case of, right, well, we don't have loads of money, so the dinner was made, and that was that. This was dinner, and you either ate it or you didn't. And I get that he obviously just wanted me to eat and be, you know, getting nutrition on board and things like that, but it was the fact that, like, the whole, I used to get so upset because I didn't like it. There was things, I'd try it, and I just did not like it. And it was the whole, you're going to sit there until you eat. And I'd just sit at the dinner table, the TV behind me. I'd be getting shouted at for turning around looking at the TV on the quiet. Do you know what I mean? If you caught me and I was looking at the TV, I'd get shouted at. You got to eat your dinner. You're not doing that till you eat dinner. You can't leave the table till you've eaten your dinner. And I'll have this whole traumatic experience with eating. All right, I do. It is what it is. And I don't really go into it much, but for people that know me, this is why. Okay, so that's why I'm conscious that I don't also berate Travis into sitting there and going, right, you're not leaving the table until you're eating. Travis has actually got pretty decent table manners, and we saw this at a birthday party last weekend. It was his first birthday party he was invited to, and it was wicked. I loved it. And when they done the food, he sat down, and all the kids sat down. And there was a kid sat next to him, and it was his mate, and, you know, fair play, and his mate was, like, climbing on the table, not the table, sorry, the chair, and he just wouldn't sit still, and don't get me wrong, Travis in our house, he does this as well, he gets a bit fidgety, and I think it's because he's at home, but to see him out in public, sat amongst other kids, And he just sat there, good as gold. And credit to him, right? It come out as like a chicken nuggets and something like that. He goes to me, Dad, I don't like the cucumber in there. I said, fine, mate, don't worry, leave it. I thought at that point he was going to have a meltdown and not want to eat the chips and nuggets. To his credit, done him some dip, i.e. ketchup, i.e. ketchup bum, little nickname for him. He ate that. He ate a few. He ate some chips. He ate a bit. And I was proud of him for just sitting and eating. And then he turned to me and said, Dad, please, man, leave the table. I want to go and play. We're at a party. Who am I to stop him? Like, yeah, man, go on. Fair play. I'm proud of you for sitting there. That, for me, was massive. He sat there, good as gold, amongst the other kids, some of which didn't really want to sit there, some of which were kicking off about the food. No, he didn't do none of that. And for a boy that is quite fussy, I was really, really proud of him. So, yeah, little victories. You've got to take these little victories. You have to, because as a parent, there's a lot of negatives at times. There's a lot of times where you feel like, fuck, man, this is hard, or shit, I'm failing, or what can I do? Like, how am I getting this so wrong? And you will feel like that. But so when you get these moments, you just cherish them. Take them. They're massive, yeah? They're really big moments. So take them on board. Harrison. So Harrison's 7 months old. He's wicked. All right, I love him. He's got like the cheekiest little smile. He's got this thing. He loves attention. And he's got this thing where like someone will look at him, we give him this fat grin and look away like he's all shy and look back like with this massive grin on his face. He's wicked. And I'll touch upon this more probably on another episode, but I couldn't get my head around. I may have even touched on it already. I just couldn't get it into my head that I'll be able to love two kids exactly the same. It's mad, but you can. You know, it's crazy. So he's at this wicked, adventurous weaning stage, and I feel for some reason now more anxious about him weaning than I did Travis, and that's not because I love him more or anything like that. But I think it's because I was more naive to it with Travis than I am Harrison. And obviously both kids are different. I felt like Travis just got on with it and just dealt with it. Whereas with Harrison, I feel like he's not... I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't remember. Because it was fucking, 3 odd years ago. But I feel like with Harrison, I'm more on edge. I'm more nervous. You know, and... Something they do tell you, if they are choking, and because their mouth's so small, you use your little finger, and this is something that you might not know, use your little finger and you create like a hook with it. And you have to hook in their mouth what you can get out. You don't go in straight, yeah? You don't go straight down the old throat or anything like that. You're meant to go in at the side and really try and hook out if they're choking. There's also an app that I've got. Again, this isn't any form of endorsement, but it's the British Red Cross, and they've got children's first aid on there as an app. You don't have to be a first aider. I am a first aider, and I hope to God I never have to use it on my kids, but I highly recommend getting it because it covers lots of even CPR and shit like that, and choking is obviously massive, stings, burns, anything. Get the app. It's free. Just get it. You don't have to be first aid trained. I don't know if you can get it in other countries. If you can, get it, man. Honestly, just as a little bit of moral support. I'm lucky because Kirsty's medically trained, but there's a lot of time where when Kirsty goes back to work, it will just be me and the 2 boys. And even though I'm not medically trained, I've done first aid. Like I said, you don't know what you're going to be like in them situations. So the more knowledge you've got about it, the better. So like I said, he's weaning, right? Which is cool. But yeah, I just feel so much more nervous about it this time. And I don't know why. He's got the same stuff. You know, you'd like to think that I'm coming into this now with a lot more experience. But for some reason, I don't know if I just don't feel like he's quite as clued up with it, in a sense. And I can't ever remember Travis, like, he'll have like one of these crisps. Like, and they're quite long. They're like long and thin, something like that, maybe for an example, which isn't great if you're listening on Spotify. So they're maybe about 4 or 5 inches long and about half an inch wide, maybe. Maybe an inch wide. I don't know. I'm not very good with inches. So why I've tried telling you guys in inches is beyond me, but you get the gist, right? And yeah, they're like almost like big Watsits in a sense, some of them, or big frazzles that just kind of melt. And again, if you're not from this country and you don't know that, Google it. Yeah, They're great crisps as well, by the way. Not paid promotion either. So yeah, I just feel like he'll like manage to like snap a bit off, or whether he bites it, because he seems like he's been teething forever. Whereas Travis, it didn't seem like he started teething and then he got teeth quite quickly. I think again, it just seems like such a blur, which is mad. But so yeah, with Harrison, he'll like break a little bit off, and he'll have some in his mouth, but then because he's got it in his hand, he's like, well, that's going in there as well. Like it can fit, so I'm gonna put it in it. So he'll be like, he'll have a bit of crisp, excuse me, in his mouth, right? And he'll be like trying to get the next bit in there, and it's like he wants to choke. It's like he's into it already, and he's 7 months old. He shouldn't be into that shit, you know? It's weird. Obviously, it's not anything like that, but you get what I'm saying. It's a bit like, I don't know, maybe they're just, it's all part of learning, and I get that. Plus, my partner and I, we do think it's got a lot to do with him teething, and we think because they're quite rough and it's nice for him to bite onto, maybe that's another reason why he's just straight in there in the mouth. But this journey we're going to go on, I'm glad we get to relive it, because I loved it with Travis. And I feel like even though I am more worried, I'm also more willing to give him things like sauces and things like that, you know? Like, for example, last night, Kirsty gave him a bit of the garlic and herb Domino's sauce. If you know, you know, right? And put a bit on his gums and things like that. And I don't ever recall doing stuff like that with Travis, because we was all a bit, oh no, he's a bit too young. Whereas again, this time around, it's a bit like, well, it's not going to kill him. He'll either like it or he won't. And this is what's odd. And this is what's different. And this is why your two kids, if you have two kids, their stories can be so different. So Travis at this age, when he was weaning, he'd eat anything, you know, prunes, like broccoli, peas, and something like that, like this green mess that to me just seems like absolute hell on earth. He would devour it, you know, he would just love it. Harrison, however, he's a lot more on the fussier side with things like that already. He only really likes the fruity like pouches. So we get these pouches. Again, they do not have to be any form of brand. Although some of like the branded ones, and if you check, I'm not going to list brands because I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to get a fucking sell or anything like that. But if you look at the branded ones, you'll notice that on the back, some of them do allow you to store them in the fridge for 24 hours, which is fantastic, especially if you get the bigger ones, but they're only 4 months old and weaning, because they're, at that age, you're only going to have a little bit. So then you've had this whole pouch that then has to go in the bin, which you find with a lot of the supermarket-based ones. All right, they're cheaper, so you can sort of almost be a little bit more like, well, I don't know what the word is. I want to say frivolous, but I don't think it's quite the right word. You can just sort of disregard them, you know. It doesn't matter if they've only had like a quarter of a massive pouch, because it's cost you 40p or something ridiculous. Whereas obviously the branded ones are a little bit more expensive, but it does give you that second bite of the cherry the following day if they don't decide that they're going to go through a massive pouch, or even the smaller ones as well. So just look at that. When you start your weaning adventure, that's something, again, I'd recommend, is have a look. Can it go in the fridge? Can you keep it for 24 hours? Can you get 2 days out of it? Because let's be honest, right? Money's fucking tight for anyone. I have a really good fucking job. Kirsty's a midwife. Where she's on maternity leave, don't get me wrong, their maternity leave's fantastic. And I wish that men and the government and the world would give men longer on maternity and pay them better. And I had to use 2 weeks holiday. I ended up using almost 3 weeks for Harrison. And I'm lucky I had that. Some people wouldn't have that. Some people are self-employed and don't have that, at least from a British perspective. So the fact that Kirsty's got a good job and has had a decent maternity is great, but money isn't going as far as it used to. So if you can do things like that, if you can buy branded pouches and they're going to last you longer, or it's because your child, boy or girl, is eating the whole thing of like a cheaper one, again, it doesn't matter, you know? And again, they're convenient. And trust me, people will probably watch this and be like, so lazy. Fair enough. You might be lucky enough to have a child that will sit there and chill. You might have the time to prepare and things like that, sound. But when you've got two kids and they're both very demanding and they will tell you when they want something and then they want it then and there, however much you preach patience and things like that, you don't always have a decent amount of time. So if you can just pull a pouch out of a cupboard or out of the fridge, put it straight on a spoon and in their mouth, sound, you know? We've got a blender and a steamer like makes the food, and it's wicked. But again, you don't always have the time. You really don't always have the time. 9 times out of 10, Kirsty's got the kids on her own. You know, we don't have a great deal of help. We've moved away from both of our families, which was a decision we made. But again, it all comes down to finances. At the time, we needed to move away. We were living at my nan's house. It's not ideal. We needed our own space. All right? Money being money, how it was then, and just before COVID, we were lucky to get a place so decent, so cheap. So don't feel bad about having to use the pouches, because I fucking don't, all right? I don't. I'd love to be able to be like, yeah, man, my kid's like super organic, and maybe that's why he's fussy. I don't know, all right? But what I know is whenever we've tried him on these pouches that are like normal vegetable based or meals like spaghetti bolognese and I don't know, like fucking coq au vin or something like that, I don't fucking know, you know what I mean? They do have these mad concoctions. Maybe it's because we've given him pouches and he don't like the pouches. Maybe if it was just normal food blended up and whatever prepared properly, he'd like it. I don't know, all right? But again, I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Harrison's 7 months old. He's already nearly crawling. Like, again, there's going to be kids like that in the world. It's not like it's a first and he's a unique specimen or fucking some sort of godlike creature. But he's clearly doing all right. You know, he's clearly developing well, and so what, man? If it gives you a break and it gets you a bit of peace, or you can just get them fed quicker and it's cheaper, and because again, it might not be cheaper to like buy all your own produce and sit there and stand in front of a cooker and cook it. It might just be beneficial just having a pouch and banging it straight in. What I'm trying to say is horses for courses. Yeah. Whatever suits you as a family, whatever suits you as a couple, or as a single parent. You do what you got to do. You do what you do to get by. All right, and that's what we do. We do what we can, but we always try and give our kids the best, and we always will give our kids the best, and I'm sure you will as well. All right, sweet. So that was level 3. Thank you for listening. Again, massive thank you to everybody. Please, all I'd like to stress now is like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff. Please get my name out there, because I'm fucking loving doing this. For me, this is wicked. It's almost like therapy. So please get it out there. It gets it off my chest. If I'm helping somebody, it's even better. I would love to be able to have somebody message me and say what you've said has really helped, or just having a male perspective talk about parenting has really helped. Anything like that is just enough to keep me going, guys. So thank you. God bless. Take care. I'm sorry the video is late. It won't happen. It might happen again because I've got kids. And that's the joy of this. Take care. Thank you very much. Ad Vida saying, au revoir. Bye-bye now. Thanks for listening.